Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. So we just were left with a cliffhanger. And so we are sitting at the edge of our seats. Tell us what happened.
Yeah. Maureen Bell is going into this treatment of chemo, understanding exactly what all the drugs are made from, realizing that some of them are made from her favorite plant. So she kind of loves this drug coming inside of her. Normally, it would take 10 hours for all of the drugs to get into her system. This time it only took 3. Normally her urine would turn blood red. This time it stayed its normal color. She was gaining weight and her hair was growing back in, and the nurses were wondering if she was being given a placebo. They called the doctor and even asked, and the doctor said, no way, we can't do that in her condition. From that moment forward, with all that understanding and wisdom, she slowly went on her path of healing. It wasn't like overnight, all of a sudden, everything was fine. It took a little bit of time for her body to rebuild back to a normal state, to the point where when I was living on the Oregon coast a couple years ago, she came to visit me and went on a walk on the beach.
That's wonderful. That's really a great story. And what I love about it is also that it is not about, let's not do any kind of medication or treatments because, we can all do it ourselves. It is actually about, yes, there is a way for us to do this both, to take advantage of what medicine and research and science have found, and also prepare our body to really do the best with it. Because a lot of times we are looking at the whole list of side effects, and that's what we are focusing on. And we are preparing our body for an onslaught of chemicals that potentially can hurt us or kill us. And unfortunately, that's what the body listens to, versus saying, hey, this is actually something that's going to help you and, support you. Let's embrace this. And similar stories with clients that went through chemo with when they embraced it and saw it more as a helper, as a detergent that was washing away the cancer. Rather than a chemical that's going to make their hair fall out and make them throw up all night long. Their side effects decreased dramatically also because they were much more in an accepting and embracing state of mind. And again, this can also be the parasympathetic nervous system mind and not the stress mind that we were in. But it's interesting when you said before about the coronavirus, why not telling it to leave? I mean, that is it's definitely something that I believe our attitude, our mindset is a very important part of how we approach something and how we're healing. But there is something about our attitude also in regards to that. Are we approaching anything from a place of, let's say fear or anger or aggression, or are we coming more from a place of confidence and being centered inside of us? And so I want to just, talk a little bit about this. When we are fighting or, pushing, usually we go into a place where our immune system goes also into an alert place. And when it comes to the coronavirus, there's definitely something about that overreaction of the immune system, what they call the cytokine storm, that does most of the damage in the tissues. It's not the virus itself, it's how our immune system responds to the virus. So when we are having an immune system that's already on high alert and saying, oh my God, there is a virus, chances are that it does overreact. And when we are just calmly about it and say, okay, I'm ready, the virus can, maybe create a little fever, maybe I'm gonna feel a little down. I cannot 100% avoid it because chances are 60 to 80% of the population anyhow will get it. But I'm gonna just embrace the ride, and I know that our immune system is able to create an immunity against it and eventually resolve it. I think there is also something that is a much more, you know, confident approach to that time that we are going through than so frantically being about, you know, avoiding it or bracing ourselves for it. I mean, what do you feel about that?
I have so many thoughts around that. And I used to say this all the time. I mean, I believed the doctors when they said, you're stuck with this for life. And then I said, okay. So I didn't fight it. I didn't resist it. I just said, how do I work with it? And that created relaxation in the body, right? What we focus on is also what we tend to get more of. So I didn't talk about it a lot, you know, today still, like, I don't talk about it a lot. I mean, I do in a certain sense because I give all these talks. But when it comes to my personal life, I surrender myself in that way when I give talks to help create an understanding. But when it comes to my personal life, as long as there isn't something that I need to work out in my response to what is happening, which I can do with a therapist, I don't need to talk about it and give it more attention and more energy. The mind doesn't know the word don't or no. It just knows the positive. It knows the focal point of your thoughts. So when you say coronavirus, don't come, it just hears come. It doesn't hear the don't, and it hears the coronavirus. When you say coronavirus, go away, then it hears the go away. You know, it's leaving, it's moving away.
Right, right.
So it's a different way of talking about it. A lot of times when people are focused on healing, well, they're actually focused on the disease. And that doesn't necessarily help them either. And then the energy of which we approach something is the energy in which we create in our body. I remember one of my astrologers, because I told him, I'm like, I need to fight this war with the hypothyroidism and beat it. And he goes, that's the exact energy that is not going to help you, because that's energy of war, of battle. When we use the word for an autoimmune disorder, saying the body is attacking itself, we're using the word attacking. We're also not trusting that the body actually has the wisdom and intelligence, you know, to take care of itself.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I feel like when there's an autoimmune disease, I believe the body is reflecting something back to us. I do believe that the body has a lot of wisdom, but sometimes its wisdom is also for us to actually get the message that we didn't want to hear. You know, we are manifesting illnesses, at least in my belief, often at the point when we have been doing something over and over again, and we got first the warnings from maybe our mind in thoughts, or maybe we just felt some uneasiness or some emotions, and we push it all away, and at some point it just goes to the level of the body, and it just tells us, you know, it's time to stop, it's time to change. Maybe that's exactly what the Energizer Bunny routine was, that it was just time to make a difference in your life. So I totally believe, and my first incarnation of the work I'm doing was called Cellular Wisdom. So I'm absolutely a believer in the wisdom of the body, but it does attack itself because we have been attacking ourselves. You know, when we are in conflict living with each other, I mean, with ourselves, when we are, I think it's often this conflict between two sides of us, you know, a side of us that knows, just like the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, let's relax, let's just focus on healing. And then there is the other side that says, no, push harder, do more, there are expectations to meet. Those conflicts can really also create then manifestations in the body.
I think it's Dr. Sarno who talks about how what the body is doing too is, like, if the emotions seem too much for us to handle, then in a certain sense, the body holds the pain so that you don't have to hold it emotionally. But then at the same time, you can say, okay, well, my body is hurting. So is there something behind this? So it does
Right.
give us that piece of wisdom and make it more obvious that there's something off here and there's something to work on. You know, is it something just on the physical layer, or is it something on the mental, emotional, spiritual layer? And I believe all of those layers can impact our body. So for sure, there's this like communication thing going on. And the interesting thing too, I just heard this talk, which was just fascinating, is I mean, if the body is taking it instead of the mind, it's like a protective mechanism. You know, what are we ready to shift and to deal with? And a lot of us are also staying home, and we could be using the coronavirus as a story, but actually we all needed to stay home for a certain amount of time to go through a certain amount of growth. You can't take a butterfly out of the cocoon until it's been fed enough by the chemicals in the cocoon to grow its wings fully.
Right.
And so we don't have to put so much pressure on ourselves also with the things that are happening, and allow them to take the time that they need and the course that they need to
Yes.
unravel and release.
I think that's a very important message. And it's really important also in the healing process to have patience, to not always be in that, micro analysis of wondering, am I there? Is it healing? Is it getting better? Is it on the right path? But just really letting the process unfold. And Avital, there would be so many more things we could talk about, so you have to come back at some point. It was really wonderful to chat with you about health and healing. And I just want to, unfortunately, we're running out of time. I wanted to thank you so much. And the book is called what again? And how can they find it? Just quickly.
Yeah,
10
go
seconds.
to healinghappensforyou.com, FORYOU. You'll find my book, my podcast, my blog there, access to my meditation group. And from there, you'll be able to get a free chapter of the book and a free month of meditations.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And I wish you and your loved ones all the very best. And thank you for all of you who are tuned in to Empowerment Radio. Until next time, I will do another YouTube live Saturday in a week. So go to that as well. It's going to be about how to deal with issues in your relationships with yourself and your loved ones during this pandemic. Take good care. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.